wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't start the project before I started the video. Of course I did this time, but anyway, we're close to the beginning, so that's good. We are building a new stage, and the old stage, which I did want to have a video of so you could see, maybe I'll dig back and find a picture of it, was almost exactly the same size as the shed there. The new one is going to kind of have a walkway that comes off of here. It's going to come out. You can see the white lines on the ground that I painted, and be much larger, about 22 feet by 16 feet deep of wall block, retaining wall block for the outside, and then probably a concrete on the inside. So that's the project we're doing. We have 4 bands scheduled for August 10th here, and it's what is it now? July, I don't even know, maybe 20th, something like that. So we got to get this done fast. Dad and Hunter are going to pick up the wall stone right now, and I'm going to start excavating. I got 20 tons of gravel dropped off the other day, so we'll use that for our base, compact it real good, and we'll start building on top of that. So here we go. Got our 3-foot trench dug, basically just to get the topsoil, the organic matter out down to clay. So now we're building back with RCA, recycled crushed aggregate, and we're kind of doing it in levels so that we can compact it properly. This is going to be the foundation for the blocks, so it has to be nice and strong. So Hunter's using the jumping jack to pack it. I think we're doing about 8 inches at a time, and then we'll do a final layer at grade. We just calculated that on the wall up there, little math, and yeah, it should be good to go. So we'll get the whole foundation done, or foundation layer of gravel, I should say, done, and then we'll check in after that. All right, here's where we're at now. I know I said I was going to check in when we had the RCA foundation done, but what I realized is that we've got a pretty good slope here, and by the time I get here, I'm already losing 1 block. Actually, I lose it over here somewhere. So it didn't make sense to do the whole foundation knowing that I'm going to have to step it. So this section is all 3 stones high, and then by the time I get over here, I lose the first course. So there's no sense in continuing that first course all around and just burying them and forgetting them. So you do want to have them buried somewhat so they don't push out, but you don't need to bury them completely. So we're going to stop here, and now I'm going to add RCA to the height of this first row, this first course, and that way this second course will just continue on top of RCA, and we don't bury all those blocks. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to begin putting some RCA in here and build it up to the height of that first block, but we're cruising along. This is the height, and then this height plus a 4-inch concrete slab. It'll be 4 inches on the blocks, actually 5 in there, but so that'll be the finished height. That's the end of the day, Monday. Here's our progress. We're done with the stone, and we got the center is all backfilled. We first backfilled it with some rocky fill that I had and packed it, and then put another 8 inches or so of crushed recycled concrete, and it looks pretty good. So that'll be a walkway that just leads out onto these paths out here, and also a way to load in gear onto the stage itself. Next step will be putting a foam concrete form basically attached to these blocks, and that will give us our overhang. We're doing like a cantilever slab on this, so the slab will actually extend past the edge of these blocks. We are going to leave the blocks open so that we can pour the concrete and let it go right down, and that will also lock all the blocks together. So when this thing's done, it's not going to go anywhere with all the rebar and everything else. So another good day. Got this all finished up, and we'll probably do some form work tomorrow, but we've got other stuff to do on the farm, so probably gonna walk away from this for a day, get some other stuff done, and then we'll come back to it and shoot for concrete trucks on Friday, I think is what we're going for. We'll see you then. We've got all of our backfilling and compaction done, so that's all leveled out. It's shot to about 1 inch below the surface of the block. The styrofoam forms that are going to go on will create our cantilever. I have a little sample piece here that I'm messing around with, but this is a styrofoam form, and once we get it in place and stuck on there and tied in with wires and Tapcons, we'll have a slab that's going to have this profile on it, So kind of a nice overhanging look. And now we're getting ready to do rebar, so we'll do that next. This probably falls into the category of extreme excess, but my father loves rebar, so here we are. This is a 1/2 inch rebar, 16 centers, crisscrossed. After that, this heavy gauge wire mesh, which are actually hog panels, that are going to serve as wire mesh, is going to go on there as well. And yes, of course, it's also getting fiber in it, and it's going to be 4,000 psi instead of 3. So basically, we're building a freeway for a stage, but it will last forever this way. I won't disagree with that. And I guess relatively, when you're talking a couple $100 in steel and stuff, then I guess it's worth it. One thing that's been in our videos before, so we've done some concrete work, is this gun that Hunter's using right now. This thing has been priceless. All those ties that he's making right now would take twisting by hand with a tool, and with this electric gun, it just automatically wraps the wire twice and ties a knot. Don't ask me how it does it. It's insane. Let's get a closer look. So yeah, that tool is crazy, but we should get this done today and hopefully start putting on the styrofoam forms for the coping edge. So coming along nicely. Well, we started doing our Formwork, and the original plan was for some double-sided tape. Well, actually, let me back up. If you're not familiar with this stuff, this foam pool coping is what it is. So I learned about this when we built our pool, and basically you just take these styrofoam forms, they have adhesive on them, and you stick them to the wall of the pool, and then your concrete goes right to the top. When it sets, you peel away the foam, and you're left with a nice, profile on the edge of the pool. And so when I thought of this project, I thought it'd be cool to have the same kind of look for the top surface, the slab. So it's like a slight overhang, I guess you'd call it. So we knew that the adhesive probably wasn't going to hold as good on concrete block, so I got some, that's the trial over there, some black 3M super adhesive double-sided tape for outdoor use, and that did work, except for there was one problem that we didn't anticipate, and that's that the styrofoam stuck to the block took the exact profile of the block. So since there's a lot of imperfections in these blocks, and so this form going down here was in and out every block just by a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, depends. So that was a problem. So then we realized, okay, let's put some 2x6 on the outside, and we can kind of get it to straighten out that way, but that then left the gaps inside that the concrete could leak out of. So ran to Lowe's, and the solution was weather stripping. So placing a 1/2 inch foam, it's real squishy, foam weather strip to the cement block. It does adhere really well. And then we're taking the foam and pressing it against, and then that way we take up all the little irregularities. So there's a larger spot there than there is here, but it just evens it all out. And the form is bending real nice around these corners. So we're gonna end up with a really cool looking corner and a really cool looking coping basically around our slab edge as it goes around the stage. So we should have been done with the forms by now, but obviously this whole process took a lot of thinking and figuring out to see which direction we're gonna head. And now that we got it figured out, we'll get this formed out in the morning. Just to be clear, in that last clip I said the adhesive holds this on, which is somewhat true, but the reality is when you're doing your pool, just so you don't do this without it, you drill a little hole and you put this wire through the form and then into your re-rod, or we were going to tie it to Tapcons that we put in, and that's actually what keeps the concrete from blowing out your form. And then there's a little nick in this wire that is meant for twisting, so when you twist this, it breaks the wire inside the concrete, and then when you pull your forms off, you just have a little tiny hole that you have to patch. But just in case you planned on using this in its intended purpose, you would need to do all that wiring to hold the form in place. And we are all formed up. Like I said, it took a little bit longer because we had to do this whole 2x6 border thing and stake it all on the ground, but we got it all done, so we're ready for concrete tomorrow. We'll just do some last minute, a little wire mesh got to go in here, and we'll get our tools ready. But you can see the styrofoam form. It has kind of a shape like a C almost on it, so that goes all the way around the edge of the block. And then when we got over to here, doing an inside corner, obviously we can't do the same thing we did here on inside. Wasn't going to work out well, so we just took some hardy plank, and that bends real nice, and then we just staked it in, and then I used little wedges to get it where I wanted it to be. So that worked out well. Eventually what we'll do is we'll continue these wall block, we'll continue them up this line and to retain all of the gravel here. But we are ready for concrete tomorrow. Again, this is 1/2-inch rebar, 16 centers. This is wire mesh, and tomorrow we have 4,000 PSI with fiber in it coming. So my calculation is about 4¼ yards to do this. There's a little area that Hunter formed over here. I'll take a little walk around the corner. Just to create a little, landing outside the door of the snack shed here. So we'll get some rebar in there in the morning, and that's going to take 1/3 of a yard. So, we're at like 4½, 4¾ yards. I have no idea how to calculate. I mean, I do know how to calculate, but the amount of concrete that's going to fall into the wall itself. So we're going to actually pour this so that the concrete goes down in each hole, and that's going to lock all of the stones together. So this thing will never shift, never move, or anything. So normally those are just filled with gravel, but we're going to go ahead and shoot it full of concrete. So I got to add up enough to go in there. I don't know, I'm just probably just throw another yard on, 100 and something bucks for a yard of concrete. And if we use half, we use half, whatever. So tomorrow we'll check back in once we're got all of our tools ready. We'll go over those, and then we'll pour the concrete. The dust has settled, so to say. I know there's a huge chunk of footage missing here. Things just got crazy, and this thing started to set, and I had to get out there. And I don't think I'd want to do this again without more people involved. My wife jumped in. Hunter was working with me, but he's never done concrete before. And the girls jumped in. They were stripping forms, and we were, they're on the other side of the building doing the entryway over there while I'm trying to get this done. It was just a little bit too much. So a couple of trained hands would be nice in the future, but as a family, we got it done. And so This is the cantilevered edge that I was talking about. It's kind of like a bull nose that hangs out past the stonework here. And I really like the way it turned out. We definitely had some problems and whatnot, but for the most part, everything in the end is as we wanted it. Getting there was a little bit more difficult, but we got ourselves a beautiful stage. And so I'd like to get some trusses that go up here to hold the speakers and lights. And we're gonna do a sun sail above for shade for performers. And then, yeah, not bad. Towards the end, I definitely went down with some heat stroke. Just head spinning, dizzy, nauseous, all the fun stuff. But feeling better now. I had to go too hard is the problem, but we got it done. And so we'll check back as we get the final stages of this done. No pun intended. But that's building a cantilevered poured slab over retaining wall block to create a stage. Well, in a little over a week's time, total almost, we're done. We've got a stage. We just finished putting the sun sail up and some poles that go back to the house to kind of support things a little bit. But we got these aluminum trusses that go up pretty tall, go across. Here's the pole that holds the sun sail. And we anchored our base plates in with 1/2-inch bolts into the concrete, so they're not going anywhere. In fact, I've climbed that pole and nothing moves. And then we sent these 2-inch poles they're actually electrical conduit that we welded together and made a 20-foot long pole that anchors back to the roof of the building. And that makes it all nice and secure. So this is a sun sail, really just meant to keep the sun off of the performers. But I do have a white tarp that's larger than this. And so if the plan was, if it was gonna rain, to replace this sun sail with a white tarp, and the white tarp was gonna be 30 feet long. This is actually only 18. And so we would take the tarp and we'd come partly down the sides here and create kind of a roof and some sidewall protection as well. But the weather has changed. There is virtually 0% chance of rain, and so we're ready to go. So construction is done. The only thing I have to do still is put speaker mounts on here, and we have to get in obviously all of our sound equipment and stage lighting. So we'll work on that Saturday morning. Tomorrow is Friday. It's supposed to be terrible rain and wind, so we're not gonna put anything out. We'll wait till Saturday morning and we'll just do it all the day of the event. But it's gonna be awesome, and we'll just keep the video rolling and capture maybe some of the setup on Saturday and some of the live music as well.
When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't pop the waters, I wish I could walk through.